At São Paulo International Airport, the atmosphere was alive with anticipation, the hum of voices and the flashing of cameras filling the terminal as polished floors reflected the glow of fluorescent lights. But the real spark did not come from the building itself. It came from the expected arrival of the Kansas City Chiefs, the reigning icons of American football who had crossed into new territory. And at the very heart of the spectacle was the man everyone waited to see, star tight end Travis Kelce, who had become more than just a player, a figure so widely recognized that his presence in Brazil seemed like something out of a dream only a decade earlier but was now a thrilling reality, showing that the Chiefs were no longer simply a U.S. team but had transformed into global symbols, and their first landing in South America was about to leave behind an imprint larger than any single game. As the crowd pressed hard against security barriers, waving hands, hoisting phones into the air, and chanting Kelce's name as though summoning a champion, and when he finally appeared their excitement swelled, for dressed in a casual beige sweater, black shorts, and a clean white cap he looked less like a warrior bound for the field and more like a man heading toward the beaches of Rio. Yet that duality explained his magnetism, a star who seemed approachable and grand all at once, which made his arrival more than sports, it was performance, celebration, a fusion of cultures, and the Brazilian supporters, many wrapped in Chiefs jerseys of red and gold, had endured long hours for this very chance, some clutching hand-drawn posters, while others simply prayed for a glimpse or if destiny allowed a fleeting touch of their hero's hand, because for them it was perhaps the only opportunity in their lives to stand this close to the NFL, a sport exotic yet increasingly compelling in Brazil. And instead of rushing past with the speed of security, Kelce chose to halt, flash his grin, and raise his hands, beginning an impromptu exchange of high fives with fans whose cheers shook the air, suddenly turning an ordinary terminal into a roaring stadium, walls bouncing back the cries of joy as if a royal had entered. And for a fortunate few the encounter went further, their palms meeting his in handshakes that left them stunned with disbelief, eyes glowing as they realized the impossible had occurred. For this was more than meeting a player, it was sharing culture, showing in real time how the NFL's future could exist outside U.S. borders. And though the other Chiefs players followed behind and received waves of applause each in their own right, it was Kelce whose presence united the familiar with the foreign, making it clear he embodied what the league hoped to accomplish worldwide. And as the squad advanced through the airport toward their bus, the cheers did not fade but intensified. And even as midnight approached, fans refused to disperse, waving frantically for one more glimpse, as if reluctant to allow the night to end. And for Kansas City, this was merely the beginning, for their real battlefield lay 2 hours away at Arena Corinthians, where they would face the Los Angeles Chargers, a journey unlike the short, convenient commutes of ordinary NFL games. And Kelce would later laugh about this on his podcast New Heights, joking that driving 2 hours to a stadium felt like reliving college days when teams endured long bus rides, saying it was the hand they had been dealt and they would play it. And for a man who had already lifted 3 Lombardi trophies and experienced nearly every challenge the league could provide, this moment stood apart. For the obstacles of long travel and unfamiliar ground became not hardships but motivation, and he declared that finding a way to win under such unique circumstances would be especially rewarding. His tone calm with the wisdom of experience, but edged with unmistakable excitement, for even he admitted this was new. And although international games carry trials of jet lag, time differences, and new settings, he seemed unfazed, confessing that he felt genuine eagerness to be in Brazil, remarking that never had travel for a game been this distinctive. Not a trip across the world, but still 2 time zones away. Yet far more than clocks and flights mattered here. What mattered was that this was an opportunity to broaden the NFL's presence, to turn Sao Paulo's crowd into fans for life, to leave memories, both for the team and for those blessed to be watching. So if you're enjoying this moment, don't forget to subscribe, because stories like this show how history is made in real time. This was not the league's first global step, for in 2007 the Miami Dolphins had squared off with the New York Giants at London's Wembley Stadium, and since then games in London and Mexico City had steadily expanded the NFL's footprint, with crowds swelling and cheers rising louder each year. But Brazil seemed to carry a different kind of electricity, perhaps because of its deep-rooted devotion to sport, or the boundless energy vibrating through every corner of São Paulo, or perhaps because stars like Kelce did not act distant, but instead mingled with fans, treating them as fellow enthusiasts who share the same passion. And so for Kansas City, this contest with the Chargers went far beyond points on a scoreboard. It was an opportunity to inspire fresh generations and to prove football belonged not only to America, but to the world. And nobody carried that torch more fittingly than Kelce, whose magnetism came as much from his play as his personality, for on the field he was swift, agile, and nearly impossible to defend. But off it he was welcoming and lighthearted, always prepared with an easy joke or a genuine smile, making rumors about possible retirement after this campaign all the more poignant, because with 13 years in the league, he had demonstrated durability and brilliance. Yet whispers suggested 2025 might mark transition. And so perhaps it was that thought which made him pause longer with Brazilian fans, drinking in every chant, handshake, and camera flash, determined to savor each instant, because for those present it was not just sport, it was human connection, the dismantling of barriers, and the shared happiness of community. And as the team settled into the bus that wound its way into the city's night streets, excitement only intensified, for the next day's contest carried weight larger than wins or losses. It was legacy itself, not only for the Chiefs but for the NFL. And while Brazil was famous as the home of soccer, tonight Kansas City had captured its imagination, merging cultures into one rhythm, reminding that sports hold power to unite, to create everlasting memories, to highlight that wherever we are, greatness is admired. And before the action resumed, remember to subscribe for more, because the story continues. Outside, neon lights flickered across windows as São Paulo's pulse vibrated through its avenues, and Kelce gazed outward, perhaps reflecting on what awaited, where the road stretched long but the destination justified every mile, for there was enchantment in uncertainty. And for him, his teammates, and every Brazilian who cheered, this was not an end but an opening chapter, for the NFL's global story still grows. And with figures like Kelce championing at the horizon looks brighter the world, though vast feels close. And for this unforgettable night in São Paulo, it shrank to a single shared experience, bound by high fives, chants, and the dream of what is yet to come. And thus the journey of connection, culture, and sport continued forward stronger than ever.